Well, friends, health is different from disease. You probably know. And most doctors don't know what health is. We are trained in the medical school for looking after illnesses. Thousands and thousands of them. There are books, yellow, but not a single thing on health. What is health is the question. Does anyone know what health is? Any of you in the audience? Health is wealth. That's right. Health is the absence of illness. Let's take these two definitions. First is health and wealth. How many of you knew that mankind was absolutely healthy before money came into this world? You don't know. There's a very nice study called the Innu Community Study. The study is so beautifully published, called Failure of Scientific Medicine, the Innu Community Study. Innus are an aboriginal race off the coast of Saskatchewan in Canada, who had no touch with what is called civilization, what you and I call a civilization. They were a sort of an aboriginal race. They were all for themselves, and they didn't have touch with mainland Canada at all up until 1732. And they had an egalitarian society and a hunter-gatherer sort of a type of society, where they all worked, those able-bodied men worked, and they distributed their food equally. There are no banks, there are no loans, nothing belonged to nobody, everything belonged to everybody, and they all enjoyed it. There was no word called I, you know I. There was only one word called we. The difference is very simple. I starting with illness, we starting with wellness. Innus had beautiful history written on rock, on leaves, and various other things, which graphically told about only two things that they died of. A, old age, which of course is inevitable. If the world has to go on, those who are born will have to die. Two, know what health is? Any of you in the audience? Health is wealth. That's right. Health is the absence of illness. Let's take these two definitions. First is health and wealth. How many of you knew that mankind was absolutely healthy before money came into this world? You don't know. There's a very nice study called the Innu Community Study. The study is so beautifully published, called Failure of Scientific Medicine, the Innu Community Study. Innus are an aboriginal race off the coast of Saskatchewan in Canada, who had no touch with what is called civilization, what you and I call a civilization. They were a sort of an aboriginal race. They were all for themselves, and they didn't have touch with mainland Canada at all up until 1732. And they had an egalitarian society and a hunter-gatherer sort of a type of society, where they all worked, those able-bodied men worked, and they distributed their food equally. There are no banks, there are no loans, nothing belonged to nobody, everything belonged to everybody, and they all enjoyed it. There was no word called I, you know I. There was only one word called we. The difference is very simple. I starting with illness, we starting with wellness. Innus had beautiful history written on rock, on leaves, and various other things, which graphically told about only two things that they died of. A, old age, which of course is inevitable. If the world has to go on, those who are born will have to die. Two, predation. But what happened in 1732? Williams Company, one of the trading companies from mainland Canada, came into Innu land and started a barter company. We will give you a biscuit, you give us the hide. We will give you this, you give us the hide. That's where bartering started, business started. To cut the long story short, today every Innu is a Canadian citizen by right. And would you believe, every Innu is heir to every disease from common cold to cancer. Very interestingly, 10 years precocious to the Canadian Caucasian. Supposing heart attack is very common in the 5th decade for a Canadian, It's very common for the fourth decade for the Innu. What has changed for the Innu? After 1732, money came into their life. And money brings in a lot of problems. I don't know how many of you know, when the first industry started in Europe, to be precise in England, 1802, there was this romantic British poet, William Wordsworth, who wrote a poem called "The World is Too Much with Us." How many of you read it? It's a very nice poem. Go home and read it. I'll give you 4 lines. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little do we see in nature that is ours. We have sold our soul. I added 2 words to the devil, a sordid boon. Today, we have sold our soul in every walk of life. I don't know about printing. In every walk of life, we have sold our soul. And our aim is making money and making big money. Greed, of course, is human nature, but Wall Street greed is something that has invaded us. You know what Wall Street greed is? Greed for everything. Everything must be mine. I am sure you all know 7 people in this world, 7 people in this world, 7 people in this world own 50% of the world's wealth. And 5% of the wealth is shared by 50% of this world. 3.3 billion people share 5%. I mean, is this fair? This is exactly what is called the Wall Street greed. Now, why are we now connecting money with health? And what is health, to be precise? Our friend said, health is absence of disease. Is there anybody here in this audience, including me, who has no disease? Anyone? Can you say, I have no disease? I don't know. Actually, there is no one without a disease. If we can scan all of us for a cancer cell, a mutated cancer cell, everyone will have not one cancer, but about 10, 15 cancers. But they don't kill you. They die themselves. But supposing I told you today that you have 10 cancers growing in you, would you survive more than 10 days? That is exactly why that definition came in 1947, which is called the alma mater definition of the WHO. You know what WHO is? World Health Organization. What is IMF? What is UNESCO? Do you know what these are? You don't know. Please get this book. You're a printers. Get this book called Perpetuating Poverty. Perpetuating Poverty. It's a beautiful book which is compiled by Cato Institute in Washington. You write to them as an organization, they'll send you the book free. Cato Institute, 1000 Massachusetts Avenue, Washington, D.C. 20001. And write to them saying that we are the Printers Association, we do good to others. Send us his book called Perpetuating Poverty. So beautifully it shows all these organizations are there to keep the third world poor. You're talking about this word science, very good word. Science, science. What is science? Knowing. What is science? Knowing. Knowing, you can know about drama, music, and that's science, is it? If we can scan all of us for a cancer cell, a mutated cancer cell, everyone will have not one cancer, but about 10, 15 cancers. But they don't kill you. They die themselves. But supposing I told you today that you have 10 cancers growing in you, would you survive more than 10 days? That is exactly why that definition came in 1947, which is called the alma mater definition of the WHO. You know what WHO is? World Health Organization. What is IMF? What is UNESCO? Do you know what these are? You don't know. Please get this book. You're a printers. Get this book called Perpetuating Poverty. Perpetuating Poverty. It's a beautiful book which is compiled by Cato Institute in Washington. You write to them as an organization, they'll send you the book free. Cato Institute, 1000 Massachusetts Avenue, Washington, D.C. 20001. And write to them saying that we are the Printers Association, we do good to others. Send us his book called Perpetuating Poverty. So beautifully it shows all these organizations are there to keep the third world poor. You're talking about this word science, very good word. Science, science. What is science? Knowing. What is science? Knowing. Knowing, you can know about drama, music, and that's science, is it? Anybody? Sorry? Science is an experiment. The real meaning of the word science is trying to understand this nature. But what the science of present day, monetary science, is trying to do is to teach nature a lesson or two. That's where we have gone wrong. Supposing you don't have a child, let us say. You're married, you're prosperous, you don't have a child. What's the use? You try everything possible and then probably adopt a child. But today, the present science doesn't let you that. They'll give you a test tube baby. You probably don't know the intricacies of the whole thing. Apart from all that, we still don't know what happens with test tube babies because we have only about 5 to 10 years of experience. We are trying to teach nature a lesson because of money. I'll tell you a story, not a story, true thing. A young boy got his PhD from MIT. Eric Drexler was his name. Eric was so proud that he had a PhD from MIT that he started a company. That's what happens. Science immediately starts a company, technology. Technology is science riding piggyback on technology for making money. The company's name was Futuristic Inc. Future. And he claimed that he can make self-replicating nanobots. No father needed, no mother needed. He can produce a custom-built baby for you. Just like in the olden days, custom-built cars were built. In the earlier days, Daimler, Benz, and the British Motor Corporation, they used to build cars. After you say, I want this car, it's built. Only Henry Ford came and started mass production of cars. Now this boy claimed that he can make that, and venture capitalists poured money there because that's where the future is. Supposing you make human beings without any father, mother, it's a big industry, you know. This boy collected about $100 million in 1 week from venture capitalists. At that time, his own professor who gave him the PhD, who is himself a Nobel laureate, Richard Smalley, wrote an article in the Boston Globe saying that, forget about making a nanobot, you can't even make a DNA. So the company closed, chapter 11, and the man went home with $100 million. This is called science. Do you understand that? If you want to know what science is, from the Western scientists themselves, forget about this villager. I will give you a book. Please read this book. It's a small book, very cheap, but you must read it. Easy to read also. Even a non-scientist, an arts student, as our friend claimed, can also do that. And this book's name is The Golem, Golem, The Golem. He's writing down, good. The book's name is The Golem. What is golem? Golem is not an English word, it's a Hebrew word. Any Malayalis here? No? What is golem? What? Oh, that is golem. Anyway, the golem is a Hebrew word. I'll tell you what it is because the same in Malayalam also. So probably Hebrew and Malayalam have some connection. Written by two physics professors in New York, Harry Collins, C-O-L-L-I-N-S, Harry H-A-R-R-Y, and Trevor Pinch, T-R-E-V-O-R-P-I-N-C-H. These two people so beautifully tell you how the whole science edifice and establishment to cheat us and keep us under the crowd and then frighten us saying that without science you can't live, and then keep us under their control. The third world country people, the colonies to be under their control. That was the intention of what is called the original science of Newtonian, Einsteinian worldview of two dimensions, space and time. We believed that. We teach that even today in our schools and colleges, which has been proved wrong nearly 100 years ago. Year was 1925 when Einstein's own student in the Zurich Polytechnic told him, your science, you're talking through your hat, gone. All that. And whatever you've been talking, all the Nobel Prize that you get, everybody gets a Nobel Prize, provided you are anti-Indian and pro-West and pro-science. Very easy. I'll give you an example. 1906, J.J. Thomson gets the Nobel Prize for saying that electrons are particles. 30 years later, his own son, who becomes a professor in the same institute, Cavendish Institute in Cambridge, gets the Nobel Prize for saying they're waves. Father said they're particles and son said they're waves. And then 32, Erwin Schrödinger says they're wavicles. They're particles as well as waves. He also gets the Nobel Prize. But if you ask all these people, right up to the present ones, the only man who got the Nobel Prize for saying the truth is Werner Heisenberg himself, who said, nobody can know what an electron is. Everything is uncertain in this world. That's the only truth. It's called the uncertainty principle. But everyone gets the Nobel Prize. But no one has seen an electron to date. Why can't you see an electron? Can you see God inside a temple, Gurudwara, mosque, church? No. There's a beautiful stanza in our language, Kannada language. God, I search for you all over the place in buildings built with stones and mortar. But you staying inside, love and compassion, I have not seen you so far, God. What a beautiful saying. You're going in search of God all over the place. You can't see God and you can't see electron. But the scientist says electron exists, though he has not seen it. And the same scientist, reductionist science says there is no God because God can't be seen. See what a beautiful thing. How do I see you? Because a few photons leave you and hit my retina. Then I am aware of your existence. If one photon leaves an electron, it no longer is an electron. So nobody can see an electron at all. So beautifully put by a poet. Who has seen the wind? Christina is an American poetess. Who has seen the wind? Have you seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the winds move and trees dance, the wind is passing by. Who has seen God? Neither you nor I. But when you are in trouble, you feel God. That's why a lot of people have survived without getting frustrated and committing suicide, because the concept of God. In the West, reductionist science says there's no God, and when they get frustrated, the only epidemic they have is suicide. Now what is health then? Not absence of disease. Let me give you a new definition of health, which we gave and the IOM has accepted it. Health simply means enthusiasm to work. Enthusiasm to work. And enthusiasm to be compassionate. This is called health. Did you understand that? Health is enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate. You can have 100 diseases, still you can be healthy. Look at Steve Hawkins. He has got a disease called amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which doesn't permit him even to move a single muscle. But the man, even today, 42 years after amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, according to my textbook of medicine, a man cannot live more than 2 years after the diagnosis of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. 42 years this man has been teaching physics in Cambridge. So you can be healthy. You don't have to be having absence of disease. Nobody has absence of disease. Even a newborn child can't have absence of disease. But you can be healthy though. Enthusiasm to work. There's a subtle difference between the two. What's the difference between enthusiasm to work and you all work, we all work? Is there any difference? Energy. Willingness to work. Passion. Want. What is enthusiasm? Entheos. En in Latin means inside. Theos means God. And God sits inside and provokes you to work. Enthusiasm. You know, for example, in the Gayatri Mantra at the end you say, Prachodayat, provoke me. And that's what is called enthusiasm. Enthusiasm to work is, you get up in the morning and ask yourself, do I want to go to work today or do I have to go to work today? Find out. Honestly, don't tell the answer to anybody, not even your wife or husband. Most of the answer is, I have to go to work because I have to get my salary. Left to yourself, you don't want to go to work. That means you are unhealthy. Do I have to be compassionate? Or have I got to be compassionate? Most of the time it is, I've got to be compassionate for society's sake. You are going in the car, you are in a hurry to go for the printers conference, and somebody meets with an accident ahead of you. And the fellow is lying on the road. And you say, oh, poor fellow, what a pity. How I wish I could help him. You don't want to help him. But you pretend to be compassionate. That's not real compassion. Enthusiasm to be compassionate is just say, stop the car, get out of the car, try and see if he's alive, and try to help him and take him to the nearest hospital if you can. That is real compassion, which is called enthusiasm to be compassionate. Just ask yourself these two questions in the morning, and the answers both are yes, you don't have to go for a checkup. Now the definition of health, absence of disease, do you know why it was done? 1947, everything is a business today. Just as printing is a business, doctoring is a business. So we want to have more patients. Just as you want to have more people to come for printing, we want to have more patients. How do we do that? We see that everyone born comes to us to see if he is healthy. So if you want to know if you are healthy or not, you must go for a checkup. Have you heard of the checkup? The biggest industry. It's called the screening industry. The biggest industry, because doctoring is not a big industry, because after all, in a given day, there are a few million people who are not well in the world. But every day, 6.2 billion people are there for screening. And when you screen, when you go for a screening, you become a patient. Did you know that? An American professor asked her brilliant student in the class. She was a brilliant girl herself, 52 years old. She asked the boy, who is a patient? The boy shot back, a man or a woman who sees the doctor becomes a patient. She was shocked. She said, is it true? Yes, madam, that's what happens in the world, he said. Matter of factly. Then she said, does he become a man or woman again when? He said, rarely ever, if ever. Because we have two rules for you. A, you must come for us and we'll make you a patient. Do you know how? We don't have what's called normal. There's nothing called normal in the human body. There can't be anything called normal because we don't know what normal is. Your normal is different from my normal. How can you say normal blood pressure is so and so, normal sugar is so and so? And these numbers are coming down every day. As there are more companies producing drugs for the disease, the numbers come down. When I was a student about 60 years ago, the blood pressure normal was supposed to be 160 by 110. Okay? And nobody died those days. Nothing had happened. Actually, the death rate is the same. They did an audit in Christie's Hospital in Manchester, which is the oldest hospital, which is primarily, of course, cancer hospital. They did an audit. They have got records from 1841, non-stop. They did an audit of a particular disease, one cancer, chronic myeloid leukemia, between two slots, 1900, 1940, 1950, 1990, 40-year slots. 1900 and 1940, all that we had for cancer was TLC. You know TLC? Tender loving care. It's called palliation. You give them good food, pat them on the back and say you're fine. They live comfortably, dignifiably till they die. Die you must. You can't, no, nobody can, I always tell my patients, why are you worried, man? Die you must. There's a queue you join when you're born. But we Indians are good at jumping queues. Sometimes we jump and go early. That's a different thing. But normally you join the queue, you end up. So what? So you're such a good man that you will go to heaven. That's where you wanted to go. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You ultimately wanted to go to heaven. Perchance, God's accountant has kept the records little wrong and you end up in hell. So many of your friends are there. So you are such a good company there. In either case, you are happy anyway. You are probably happier after death than you are in this world. So nothing to worry. Now, but if you want really to see that you want to get a normal thing, all that we give you is we convert the average, which is a statistical term, into normal. How do I say what is a normal pressure, blood pressure of a patient? We take 1,000 people's blood pressure and then chart it on a graph, which is called a Gaussian curve, a bell-shaped curve. There are people with blood pressure of 180, 110, here 90/60, both sides are there. Now then we draw a median called mean plus 2 standard deviation. And that comes to somewhere. And we immediately say, this is the normal. Which means that all this on two sides, which are called false positives, they all become patients. So whoever goes for a checkup, for one parameter, 25% false positives. Today there is no one parameter. You go now for a TBS, total body scanner, 750 parameters are checked. 750 parameters can be checked. Multiply 750 by 25. What will be the number? If one man goes in checkup, probably 1,000 patients come out. So in short, whoever sees the doctor becomes a patient. But Ayurveda, the old Indian science, is a beautiful definition of health. Samadatuhu samagnischa maladoshaya prasannatma indriya manah swastha ityabhidiyate. It says, you get up in the morning and ask yourself, can I work? Do I sleep well? Do I eat well? Do I piss well? Do I shit well? And do I work well? And don't I hate nobody? Yeah, I am healthy. So friends, health is not absence of disease. I am reiterating that to make sure that the point has gone home. And the point is, health is two things. A, enthusiasm at work, and enthusiasm to be compassionate. Now what governs health? We all say lifestyle. What is this lifestyle? All of us have an idea that I must run a mile every day, and I must, reduce myself to have a no belly and 36, 24, 36 size, or zero size, or what have you. All this is myth. All this is myth. And all this is business behind it. You will be surprised to know that a study showed that obese people, overweight people, whom you think are very bad, if they're very active, they're healthier than all of us. What is important is activity. You must work because you are made to work. Ayurveda says, samikshakari, work very hard. So it's like, doctors advising everybody to walk. A farmer went, I believe, to the doctor to see him. He said, you must walk for, healthy lifestyle. He said, I work almost 12 hours. The man who walks for 1 hour, other 23 hours he is doing a lot of other things. It's like a lot of people say, I do yoga. What is this yoga? 1 hour you sit there and say, Om, Om, and all that, and do kusti and that you see with. Rest of the 23 hours, whom to cheat, how to make money, how do I go up the ladder, how do I sit in the chair where I am not able to sit. Now this completely destroys the 1 hour of Om Om. So lifestyle is your lifestyle, how you live it. And what is the important part of lifestyle? What is the important part of evolution? What is your human evolution? We were all told by the Western scientists that we were monkeys. At one time we were fish, and we were probably snake, and then we became human beings, right? You believed that, right? Because you passed your exams by mugging it up. And he said it's all survival of the fittest, Darwin's, Mendel's laws. Though Darwin's own grandfather and a very good scientist called Lamarck, they had both said, genes are not the part of evolution at all. What is evolution is environment. Of course, Darwin didn't believe it then, but when he was old, he believed it. But the neo-Darwinists in the Western science do not want to disbelieve it because there is a lot of money in this science. I'll tell you, genetic engineering. You go to the doctor and they say, try to find out if you have a risk gene. You can do something about it. Look at that girl, poor girl, Angelina Jolie. Somebody checked up and said, you have a BRCA gene, so your breasts must go. 2 beautiful breasts. They went. Removing the breast is a big business. Then there's the plastic surgery business. Reconstructing beautiful breast. So she had one set of artificial breasts. Then after some time, someone said, no, you have a gene for uterus also. So she had her uterus removed. After some time, somebody said, you have a gene for ovary also, ovary removed. So I wrote an article, Angelina Jolie will be left with skin and bone only. And the cancer will have to eat her skin and bone. If you have a cancer gene, if you remove your breast, it will come in your tummy. If you remove the tummy also, it will come in your head. Somewhere it has to come, if gene is what is causing the disease. But today we know that we have not been monkeys. I'll give you an example. Supposing I were a fish, let us say, at one stage. I would be very happy to be fish. It's easier to live as a fish. Did you know that? Fish has only one circulation. So there is no lung, no pulmonary hypertension, no TB, no asthma, no nothing. Only one circulation. No 4 chambers in the heart. It's so nice. You just the gill, you get the oxygen, and you eat whatever you get, in the sea, and drink the water, and you're happy. And movement is also very easy. Buoyancy will help you to float. You don't have to do that. Then why should I become a man? And before becoming a man, I became a bird. Why did I become a bird? Bird has 2 lungs. Bird has 2 circulations. Bird has so many things. And bird has 2, supposing I were a snake, I would love to be a snake. Do you know why? Snake has no coronary system at all. Snake can suck its blood right from the heart. So no coronary circulation, so no angioplasty, no bypass surgery, no angiogram, no nothing. So all this is, I should use an unparliamentary word to be very bullshit. The new evolutionary biology tells us that this earth, what we are having as ours now, has been here for 4 billion years. And the first 2 billion years, like any other planet, like the moon now, Mars for that, it's inhabited only by germs. So 2 billion years this earth was inhabited by germs, and the germs also became arrogant like us. And they destroyed one another. A stage came, they were almost getting extinct. At that stage, they came together and said, unless we live together, we have no future. So they tried to live together, love one another, compassion came in, and they said, we must have food for all of us. And that's the first experimental science that happened in this world. The germs took the carbon dioxide they breathed out, some water vapor from the earth, from the air, and sun's rays, and produced chlorophyll in the green leaf. Scientists did not do chlorophyll. You can't do chlorophyll in any laboratory today. And that chlorophyll is the one that is feeding us even today. You may say, I am a non-vegetarian, I couldn't care less for it. Even the non-vegetarian that you eat lives on chlorophyll only. Even the fish, the smallest fish eats plankton. Bigger fish eats the smaller fish, bigger fish, smaller fish, and the biggest fish, the bigger fish. So everybody lives on chlorophyll, which the germs presented to us. Then after a billion years, the germs said, no, this world needs bigger animals than us. So they donated a DNA each, DNA, and made the first nucleated cell, which is called the zygote, that you and I were in our mother's womb the day we were made. What a beautiful thought. So we are one cell. And today we are a colony of 150 trillion such human beings. So there is nothing called I, because we are a we already. We are a colony of 120 trillion cells. And the most important thing about these cells is today we can study those cells with the biophoton camera. They love one another so much. I tell you, they love one another so much that they dance together in sync when they're happy. And if they dance in sync, you have no disease. When they are not happy, then you know there's something wrong with you. And that is the beauty of the system. What's the in thing there? Compassion. Again. And not only that, my cells and your cells are the same. They are both charged by the same energy, which is the universal energy. And we are a part of it, each one of us. So mind you, you can't say I. There's nothing called I. It's just we. My cells love Mr. Shetty's cells as much they love my cells. Perchance now some of us develop hatred. This is from the monetary economy, you know. We getting and spending. We want to get and get and get. That's why Ayurveda says, don't be a getter, but a giver. Data, giver. And very interesting, when we get and hate another person, supposing I say, who is the president of the association here? Supposing I want to be the president, and I'll see that worker, see that he just doesn't become the president. Then my cells get confused. Why is he doing that? Because the president and himself are the same. President is a part of me. And if I harm the president after some time, my own cells get so confused that they start harming my own cells. This is a very big disease called autoimmune disease, where your own body cells hate your own body cells, which a scientist of yore called horror autotoxicus. Imagine what happens if your own body cells hate your own body cells. You are destroying yourself slowly. And we don't know what to do about it. And we doctors call it as autoimmune disease, idiopathic. Idiopathic means I'm idiotic. I don't know about it. And we give, of course, the usual thing, steroid, just to suppress, which is called palliation. And steroids also kill you. Autoimmunity kills you and steroid kills you. So we hasten your exit from this planet. But actually you can reverse it now. If you try to find out what is really killing you, you meditate and find out what's killing you and reverse that and then forgive them, and do not pursue that hatred. Would you believe autoimmune disease can be completely cured, which is called quantum healing. With the new science of quantum mechanics and quantum physics coming into being, we now understand the world much more than what we understood in the conventional science of yore. Today, what I call as science, the conventional science can only grasp with our five senses. But quantum physics can comprehend much more in this world and get to know more. And quantum physics is so beautiful that it says there is nothing called matter. It's all energy. Whole world is energy. If as a layman you want to know something about it, because quantum physics is very complicated, don't try to understand quantum physics if you are not a scientist. But I'll give you an article written by the Nobel laureate, also an alternate Nobel laureate, who got the Nobel Prize for saying what energy is matter, E is equal to M. And this man so beautifully says in his article that I learned quantum physics from Indian philosophy. What a beautiful compliment. He says he learned quantum physics from Indian philosophy. And he says matter and energy are the same, which I call as a-duality. And he says a-duality is a small word which I discovered, but the Indians had discovered it as Advaita thousands of years ago. And that's exactly what quantum physics is all about. Write down if you want to know this article. Matter is not made out of matter. That's the article. Matter is not made out of matter. Matter is not made out of matter. Matter is made out of energy. His name is Hans, H-A-N-S, Peter, P-E-T-E-R, Dürr, D-U-R-R. Go to Google and say Hans Peter Dürr, matter is not made out of matter, and you get the article. Read it at least 10 times to understand it. But when once you understand it, you become so happy, so tranquil, and you say, okay, everybody is my brother and everybody is my sister. You have no hatred at all. If I hurt any one of you, it's like my hurting myself, because you are me. There's no difference between you and me. And this is the beauty of a healthy mind. After all, environment is not just drinking water, eating food, exercising and running and sleeping, etc., which we think is lifestyle change. No. Lifestyle's most important change is the environment of lifestyle. And the most important environment of lifestyle of a man or a human being is his or her mind. Mark my words, mind. And if you know how to mind your mind, you know how to mind your health. As simple as that. We all take bath for our body using various shampoos, soaps, etc., etc. But do we take bath for the mind? Mind has so much dirt in it. Many of us mind is so much dirt in it that is the cause of all illnesses from common cold to cancer. Even to get a common cold, you must get some frustration in life. Common cold is not due to the germ. The germ is there in your nose all the 12 months of the year, 365 days. Not one germ, 80 genera of 1000 germs. But they can give you cold anytime you pull down your immune guard by getting frustrated. Let us say you lose an election. Then you say, my God, gone. So you're frustrated, next day you start sneezing. To cancer, all diseases are due to the environment, that is the mind. So we must cultivate a healthy mind. How to cultivate a healthy mind? What's a healthy mind? Now, definition of healthy mind. A mind filled with enthusiasm to work and a mind filled with enthusiasm to be compassionate. Imagine we change our education system in this country or in the world. What is the education system today? Trying to make a wealthy career. I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a technologist, I want to be an engineer. Money making. On the contrary, if you aim education at making a healthy mind, imagine 1.3 billion healthy minds here, 2.6 billion hands wanting to work. Can anybody beat this country? 2.6 billion hands wanting to be compassionate. Is there any problem? Is there any murder, rape, terrorism, hatred, jealousy, anger, pride? Nothing. And that should be our aim. I have been telling the education what education is all about. Education is not teaching 3 hours. That anybody understands. Nobody can teach anybody anything that he or she does not already know, because on the day you are made, that zygote is so unique that it knows all about this universe, posteriori and priori, when it gets its consciousness. The human mind is human consciousness. Human mind is not in the brain. A lot of people have the misconception that the mind is in the brain. No, mind is not in the brain. Actually, the man who got the Nobel Prize for saying that the mind is in the brain, a Canadian neurosurgeon called Wilder Penfield, in 1971 said, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. Brain cannot even hold a thought. Forget about the mind. Mind is a huge canvas, universal canvas, on which our thoughts are projected. And that's called consciousness. And Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, says, consciousness is fundamental. And all else, including matter, comes from consciousness. So if you understand this, I tell you how to cure yourself. You don't have to go to a doctor, you don't have to take a medicine. Any disease from common cold to cancer can be treated. All that you know is, this matter and mind change so fast, so quickly, and for every second in the human body, it changes 1024 times. So it's called the Max Planck constant. And each time the energy knows the blueprint to the matter. Supposing a man has a cancer, let us say, he knows how to meditate intensely and really gets into that level of consciousness where he says, look, my cancer now can go with the next set of energy, converting that matter into a new matter. You go on doing that, and you can beautifully heal it. It's a little difficult, you require a little patience, practice. It's not a quick fix like you have a headache, you swallow a pill. But you don't know what happens to the pill. There is no pill for every ill, but there is an ill following every pill. Every painkiller from an ordinary paracetamol to Vioxx has got so much of side effects that one can get a heart attack in the next 5 years. Just taking paracetamol. I was told I have to check on this fact. The Parsis keep their dead bodies on the top. You know, the vultures. And a lot of vultures recently have died in Bombay, I believe. Dissected vultures showed a lot of paracetamol inside their bodies. Because old people, take a lot of painkillers, and then their body is full of paracetamol there, they're taken up. In a small country like England, 2,500 people died last year of paracetamol poisoning. Not large doses. Even one pill of paracetamol is enough. It is not dose related. And damages the kidney and damages the liver directly. One of the common causes of kidney dialysis, transplants, is NSAID-induced kidney disease. It's called painkiller nephropathy. I'm just talking of one. So every pill has an ill, but quantum healing has nothing because you're not putting in anything. Your own body corrects itself. If you want as a layman to know what it is, there's a nice book, read it. It's called Quantum Doctor. Quantum Doctor. If you want to quickly know what it is, you go to the internet and put my name and say quantum healing, you get an article, you can read it. But this is a nice book written by a professor of quantum physics in the University of Eugene in Oregon. He's an Indian, a big quantum physicist, Amit Goswami. His name is Amit, A-M-I-T, Goswami. It's a beautiful book, a small book, a readable book, understandable book, and you will know how to cure yourself of many ills. Only thing is you need patience. Ayurveda knew this thousands of years ago, though beautifully said, diseases start in the mind and end in the mind. And where is the mind? Never mind. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. In every cell of your body, the mind is there. Even outside there is mind. And today we know quantum physics, non-locality. If I want to convey something in my mind to your mind, I can do that. Experiments show that. I can induce a wave with electrically stimulated wave. What's called an induced wave in my brain, I can pass it on to your brain. That is how the mystics pass on their ideas to others. That's how in the olden days the great teachers passed on their ideas to their students. And this is possible because it is non-locality. Everything happens at everywhere. You intensely want to talk to somebody, your relative maybe in Boston, you intensely, really intend to talk something and you can't get it, you will be surprised. Within 24 hours, either that man or woman will contact you or you will get a phone call or some sort of a thing. It's called telepathy, which today science says transmutation, telemutation. You can convey an idea from one place to another place without any conventional methods of communication and without loss of time. That's the most beautiful thing. It immediately happens. When a photon jumping about here, another photon counterpart will be jumping about in the person's. I have a friend of mine in London. That man so beautifully times he talks to me twice a day, wherever I am, and that he has to talk every day twice. And he times it in such a way. Today, for example, I just came from Bangalore, and I got in the airport, came to my hotel, checked into my room, he rings me up. Then I said, Linus, how did you do that? I don't know, I got an intuition that you are in the room, so I'm ringing your room. I told him which hotel I'm staying. He will immediately go to Google and find out about the hotel. I didn't know the number of the hotel myself. But as I was getting into the room, opened the door, got into the room, he rings up. And this happens day in and day out, every day. And twice a day he rings me up. This is called telepathy. This is very interesting. And body can now, my friend was saying that I have to take vitamin D, vitamin C. That's my friend, that, CoQ and things like that. Your body knows all that. It can transmute anything to anything. Supposing your magnesium is lacking, it can take sodium and make it into magnesium. What happens is, we know a few things. We know a few chemical reactions. But in the cell, in 1 minute, there are 3 million reactions occur. And we won't be able to control that. That's why in the intensive care unit, a lot of people are sent to heaven by us because we just have a few parameters, we try to adjust that, and that goes haywire. But when the body wants, it can transmute anything to anything. This is called transmutation. And such a beautiful thing. You want sodium, sodium will come. You want potassium, potassium will come. And everything will happen on its own, provided you don't too much interfere from outside. That's why Ayurveda says, Hita Mita Ahara Sevi. This is your future for how to. Hita means what you love. Don't say, oh, that's this and this is fried, that is this and that's cholesterol. That itself is stress. Kills you. Nothing. You like something, eat it. But Mita. Anything in moderation is okay. Even poison is okay. If you get a heart attack and come to us, do you know what we give? Rat poison. What is warfarin in rat poison? Only small dose, that's all. If you give a bigger dose, the rat will bleed and die. If I give you a small dose, your blood will be fluid so that it doesn't clot. That's why we check your blood every now and then, because you may bleed somewhere. I still remember my professor in Scotland used to put a board when first warfarin came to thing. No rat poison in my ward. He never allowed that. Till he died, he never allowed warfarin to come to his ward. And that's the beauty of it. So what I'm saying is, anything in moderation is okay. Hita mita ahara sevi. Samikshakari, work very hard. Nobody has died of working. Nobody has died of working. If you love your work, you can work very hard. If you hate your work, you will die overworking. That's what happens in the IT industry. The boys and girls don't like the work. Because same repetition, same thing, that's no innovation, no creativity, nothing. America has given something, you just go on producing it day in and day out, and then there's no 9 to 5 job. You are given a project that is about 3, a whole day, night sometimes. And the parents think it's very nice because they're given a hotel. They're given a hotel because they can't go home at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night. So this is kind of a job. When you hate your job, you kill yourself. When you love your job, work very hard. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Actually, you improve. Then what to say? Samikshakari, work very hard. Data, be a giver. When you give something to somebody, you are very happy. When you receive something from somebody, you think, why didn't they give a better one? What is this? Supposing, let's say you now gave me 1 lakh rupees, let's say, for lecturing. A lot of people take a lot of money for lecturing. Then I think, these are big organizations. Why didn't they give 2 lakhs? Why only 1 lakh? Supposing I am able to give somebody 5 rupees, I am so happy because I have given something. Data. Then samaha. Remember, this is a very important thing for health. Treat people equally because all men are alike. All are born alike. All are going to die alike. Why in this difference? Supposing you are the Prime Minister of the country, your opportunity was there. I am not I didn't have the opportunity. So why should I worry about that? So it says samaha. It's a very interesting concept, I tell you. I developed this concept when I was a dean of a medical school. A lot of these boys and girls love one another in the college, you don't know. And then they come sometimes to you if you are a very compassionate teacher. They say, sir, this boy I love, sir, but do you think he's okay, sir? I can marry him. He's a reliable boy. I tell him, young lady, I know him from 9 to 5. But 5 to 9, I don't know what he does. Don't rely on my judgment. In the evening, you take him for a cup of tea in a big restaurant in the town. When he goes there, the manager is there. He says, hi, sir, how are you? How is today? Have it been nice? And then he goes and sits in the table. There's a little dirt there. And he calls the boy, hey, come here, clean it. Don't marry that man. He treats people differently. The manager is, hi, sir. And the boy is, hey, come. Don't marry him. Unreliable. He is not samaha. He is not satyapara. Because you know what happens? If you are, see, you must simply know that we all came here together, nothing. Our ingress into this world, said D.H. Lawrence, was naked and bare, nothing. You didn't have an underwear. Our progress in this world is trouble, but care. Our egress from this world will be nobody knows where. If you do well here, you will do well there. So you don't have to worry. All that you do is do something here for others. Touch another life. And this philosophy is so good for health. Emerson said, life is not to make money and amass wealth. Life is to live honestly, authentically. And life is to touch another life, to show to the world that you have not only lived well, but you have let others live well too. I have a formula. Each one, at least reach one. At least one. One life. If you have made one life happy, you will be happy. A lot of people come to ask me, sir, I am not happy, what do I do? I tell them very easy. Happiness is like a mirror. You hit it, it comes back. Make someone happy, you will be happy automatically. If happiness is what you give away, happiness is what comes back each day. So if you want to be happy, don't think you will be happy when you become the president of an organization or when you become the big man, when you become the MLA or MP. No, you will not be happy, you will be unhappy. You will be happy when you make another person happy. This is the principle of the environment. So, friends, let us build another generation with a healthy mind so that all hospitals and clinics can close. But don't we need doctors? We do need doctors. Because the doctor is a must to guide you, to really take you in the right path. And because you can't know all of medicine, a doctor is supposed to know, and he's supposed to help you. That's why I say every person must have a family doctor. And a family doctor must be your friend, philosopher, and guide, and must know you, must love you. Is it done? Very good. I am done too. What's the message? If you want to be healthy, develop a healthy mind. And a healthy mind is an insurance for continued health and absence of disease. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.